get some of the excess moisture off of it. You might not want to bring towels in from the shop that are all covered with grease. Make sure you have clean towels. And then when you get the excess moisture out of it, this is called blotting paper. And you can buy this at archival stores too. It absorbs moisture. You put it on there. Put another one on the other side. Put a piece of glass over it. I'm gonna point off the combine. And just let it dry. And when it dries, it'll be nice and flat. It'll be dry. If it has any wrinkles in it, then you can go ahead and do some ironing and smooth it all out. And then your literature that you thought was junk is now preserved. We got one more here. And now I can't get it apart. So people will worry about if they think the literature's wet and it's ruined. It's not. But the worst thing to do with your literature when it's wet is just to throw it to the side. If it gets caught in a flood or something, and you're not going to have time to work on it for a while, put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer. That way everything is just stays the way it is. If you leave it out, it tries to dry on its own, in its own twisted fashion, and it's going to get mold, and then it's going to be a lot more work. So if something's been through a flood, throw it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in the freezer. If things are musty smelling, if pages of a book are sticking together, they're a little dirty, sprinkle with cornstarch, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and the cornstarch will absorb the moisture out of the book. If it smells musty, throw some baking soda in a Ziploc bag, throw your material in there with the Ziploc bag, wait a few days, and it'll pull a lot of the smell out of there. So those are two simple household products that you have. A lot of times, if something smells really musty, which I don't mind the smell of my vault. I walk in the vault, and I'm like, oh, I'm home. And the girls will walk in there, and they're like, oh, it smells in here. And I'm like, oh, if they only made an air freshener like this. But you can throw a fabric softener sheet or something. Don't lay it on the material so things won't seep out of it. But put a fabric softener sheet in there, it'll absorb some of the material, the smell too. Okay, this book that was all stuck together is now coming apart nicely. Well, it was till I said that. So we'll let it soak a little more. But you have to be gentle with this when they're that wet. And if they're not wanting to come apart, don't force them, because they're going to end up pulling the page with them that's next to it. But it'll take a little time to it's coming right apart. And that's what you want. And if you're not going to have time to work with it right away, wax paper out of the kitchen. Get a piece of wax paper and put between each sheet so they don't end up drying back together. Separate them with the wax paper. I'm not going to have time to pull all of this apart. But it is coming apart. And before, if you saw it, I couldn't even use it. It was just in there. I'll deal with that later. There are other ways to repair literature that's torn. This is, you can't put that in a binder anymore. That's done for. But there's a product in here somewhere. Rice paper. This is rice paper. It's a very thin paper. The Japanese use this. Do a lot of their artwork. Pass some of that around if you want to. Let's see what it is. That is rice paper. It's not the easiest stuff to find. You're not going to walk into Walmart and find this, but you can order it online. But to fix this, I can cut one for myself. There are cheap ways of fixing it, but we're not cheap with our literature. I mean, you can buy those, the little stickies to put on there, and those will work. But to preserve the value of the literature, you're better off to repair it the right way. I mean, somebody's going to have a sale one of these days and say, boy, they sure did a nice job taking care of their literature. And I'm speeding through this, but normally you would cut a nice piece. It's going to fit there. Fold it in half, give yourself a nice seam. And it's going to end up on here. So that in the end, you have a nice straight edge. I can get it on there. In the end, you'll have a good piece of paper again, and after it's dried, then you can punch it with a 3-ring, with the hole punch, and it'll be nice and firm. Now, the way you use this, it's pure wheat starch, and it's like wallpaper paste. That's basically what it is wallpaper paste, but this is an archival one. And you would just mix it with water and make a nice little paste. Now I got too much. And I just cut it so I don't have to show you the pasting the whole thing. When you put the paste on it, the paper becomes just about invisible. So that when you do put it on here, this is really not a good example because I've been rushed through it here. But when it's done properly and glued down nicely and you let it dry, it just about disappears into the paper, and then you can punch your little hole in there. Pass it around if you want to. But it blends into the paper very well, and once it's dried.
Can you repair a tear in a paper?
Yes, you can repair tear the exact same way. Yeah,
Wow.
I've repaired posters with it. And if anybody wants a chunk of this later, you're welcome to take some. I don't use that much of it. This is your other option. This is what happened when somebody tried to repair it with masking tape back years ago. This is what you're left with. You can remove, sometimes you can remove this stuff. There's that product. Sometimes it's dry enough you can about scratch it off.
But it leaves that glue residue.
Right.
The way of getting that off.
Right. I've got some stuff here somewhere. This is a remover made for paper, made for removing the glue residue. This is actually a scraper so that when you dab it on there, you can use that to scrape and try and get some of that off of there. So that's another product. There's another way of sealing posters. Got too many things here. Well, I have one here. So you can take this product here. This is a film product. Take this. I'm sorry I'm moving around so much. I wish I could find the one I had done for you. Let's see here. Take a piece of that, and you'll cut it probably a ½ inch bigger all the way around. It works nice using a cutting board and like the quilting boards. The quilting board works really good, or if you have a large one of these, this works real good for trimming the smaller stuff. When you're working with this stuff, try to have clean hands and not too much dust blowing around, because when you seal it, you're going to seal it inside. And then you're going to be sitting there wishing you to flick that popcorn hole out of there before you This is two-sided tape. And you're going to go outside of your item that you're preserving, just 1/8 of an inch or so. You don't want it, you're not trying to tape the product down. This is going to do nothing more than just seal it. You go around all four sides. Then the fun part starts. Gotta get that back tape off.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's already fighting me. So I might not fight it for very long. Here we go. Always turn this off when you're done with it.
Yeah, you can get hurt.
Yeah.
I worked on a factory line, putting nuts and bolts and bags and
Uh-huh.
you get hurt.
So for all you crafty women, this is some fun stuff for you to do that your husband probably won't complain about. Am I right? And try not to lay your picture on the tape. I think I cut that very well. I cut that one too much. Doggone it. Okay, well, you get the idea. So when it's all done, this will all be sealed, protected. This is still good. If you ever need to get it out of there, you can pull it right back out. You don't have to worry about it getting damaged like the laminated stuff. But it's a very, very simple. I mean, you saw it, it's just plastic and this. But it's a special plastic. Pass that around. And then if you want to put those in binders or something, you can. Just going to show you something else. There are archival tapes, acid-free photo mending tape. You can use that, and it will work for some things. I prefer to use the rice paper. Then you can't tell that it's got tape on it and that it's been repaired. A bleach pen will sometimes help get some of the stains out if you have mold on your paper or something. Just don't saturate your paper unless you plan on ironing it later, because it is going to start to wrinkle on you or something. So just be careful with that. Just a plain old rubber art eraser is really good for taking the writing out of the inside of manuals and books, because a lot of the dealer price list or even sales literature, the dealer's trying to sell it to them and he's circling things and writing how much that option is. And although it might be nice to have that price in there, I mean, you can still get some of this stuff out just with a rubber gum eraser. I've got mounting squares for people that just want to put a picture in an album. You've all seen the mounting squares, but these are archival ones. They don't have the acid in them. Here's more paper mending tape. This is a film tape that becomes invisible. It's not like the Scotch tape. You can use this to mend paper. Has no gloss to it, it just kind of blends in. And then one of my favorite solutions is PEC 12. PEC 12 I use to clean my microfiche. Because you know these get dirty, fingerprints on them, and oil on your hands is the worst things for paper and for film. So I've been to a lot of places to do research, and they will make you put on white cotton gloves, otherwise you're not touching it. So this product, PEC 12, is good for cleaning this, and it does another magical trick. Find a good one here. This piece of literature from the Hartpar days, there's a date on here. This was building steering wheels for the Navy ships during World War I. This picture is very rare, so you know this is a very valuable piece of artwork. We've all encountered a Sharpie. They don't come out of anything, nothing at all. Would you mind autographing this for me? Just, well, don't make me use too much PEC 12. Well, that's not a very big autograph.
Not good enough.
But anyway, there it is. She signed it. We'll let it dry a little while. I'm not afraid.
Just in case.
And it won't come off. It's on there. You ruined my picture, Bonnie.
Yeah.
But you can take PEC 12, put some of it on a cotton swab. Ooh, too much. Take it right off. So this is magic stuff. So I use that for getting stuff off of photos. It's good for cleaning your. Now I do have something to clean off of it because I just put wheat paste all over it. There's nothing better than clean microfiche. So this stuff is available through a lot of the larger photo shops. You can't pick it up at Walmart or any place like that, but it's photo emulsion stuff. So this stuff works good for cleaning pictures. That's about the only thing I'll use on cleaning pictures. Now this only goes on old pictures. This doesn't go on the stuff that goes through the machine at CVS, and I wouldn't try anything like that there. Another thing people ask me a lot, how do you know if literature is real or not? Staples are a good indication if it's got staples. Look at the staples and see if they've got a little bit of rust on them, or see how they're cut, if they've got a bevel cut or if they've got a straight cut. You can usually tell if the staples are good or not, if they've been removed, if they're nice and tight. I mean, there's just one of the key things you look at is the staples itself. There's another thing you look at. We all know how the inkjet printers, the old printers would work. Does it work better from in the light or out of the light? The old printers, they would go across and just put dots of ink across there, and it just splatters of ink. The new printers, you know how the head goes back and forth. So when it drops that dot, if you get a fine magnifying glass and you look at it, you can see those dots have a little bit of a smear. You can see that the head has left a smear, so that's a good way to tell if it's printed on a good inkjet printer or if it's an older printer. Just look at the dots. But again, it takes a special magnifying glass, and I have one, and I went off and left it. I think those are about all the tips I've got for you. No one take my stuff here. I need that. That's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions on how to do anything or?
I have a question. That solution of Everclear and water,
Uh-huh.
what mixture, what part?
50-50.
Half and half.
50-50,
okay.
yeah. 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 Because if you get done and you have too much left over, you don't want it to be too diluted. You want to throw it on some rocks and. Yeah, it's 50-50. And this is all coming apart just fine.
Do you make a brochure or somebody make a brochure kind of covering some of these procedures?
No, what we've been wanting to do at the office, we were going to do it over the winter time, is to do some little YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had it in the plans, and the plans are made to be broken. I've been on the road 4 weeks, so.
She's been in the air too much.
Yeah, well, I've been driving the last
I got
few.
projects I started 10 years ago, so.
Yeah, so you understand, yeah. Gosh, I'm excited to see my book. It's all coming apart. Oh, you had a question?
Yeah, the acid that they talk about in paper, is that something from the manufacturing process of paper? Is it from the fingerprints? Or how does it
I
get?
think
It's from the wood, isn't it?
I don't know where the acid comes from. Well, yeah, it would
Yeah,
be,
wood's
because
got-
paper's wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
does like that putty or those crumbs, the dust stuff, does that remove acid from the paper?
I don't think it takes the acid out of it, no.
Well, I've heard like history shows or where they talk about preserving this,
Uh-huh.
where they talk about getting the paper deacidified or
Right,
something.
there's a solution, you put it in, it's water and hydrochloride something. It's calcium. There is
Kind of
a,
like what you're doing right there.
but this is just water and this,
Right.
yeah. This helps absorb the
Uh-huh.
water, but there is something you can do to neutralize it, pretty
Okay.
much.
I've seen sprays that do that. Do those work? That you just spray
I've
on the
never
paper to
used-
make it acid free?
I've never used any of those, so I couldn't really say. It tells what you can use it on, but it doesn't say absorbs dust and dirt of any kind.
Yeah, kind of like the pH and soil.
Paper that's super brittle, is there anything you can do to
Steam
restore
it?
that before it all falls apart?
I would steam it, like with the
Steam
iron,
Okay.
steam it, or, you know, it sounds silly, but put it in the bathroom and turn the shower on high and get it real steamy in there and just leave it set for a while. I have in the past taken a pan of water and put it in the oven and put literature on a rack above it and turn the oven on the lowest temperature and just let it set in there for half a day and it'll absorb some of that moisture. Wow, I haven't ripped a page yet. It's all coming apart. See, it works. Any other questions?
Didn't you show one time how if something's rolled up, paper that's rolled up?
Rolled up, the best thing to do with it when it's rolled up is to get the iron out. Get the iron out and just, while it's still rolled up, just iron over the top of it, release some steam, and slowly start pulling it apart and iron the center section, and then just keep working your way out with more steam and more iron.
As you're unrolling it.
Yeah, just do a little section at a time.
So you take the crease out for the, like a flyer, they
Right.